Welcome back. This is the scene last night in a normal West Coast game. You got the Clippers and the Thunder here squaring off. But it's not what happened here so much, where you see Matt Barnes here coming to a player's defense. You see right there, Blake Griffin, he of Oklahoma City, he getting thrown around, and all of a sudden his teammate comes in there and shoves the player. Well, anyway, after that fight here, if you want to call it that, shoving the NFL NBA qualifies as a fight. But anyway, a couple of the guys got thrown out of the game. Barnes, the player who came to the defense, put out an angry tweet here. And he said, among other things, I love my teammates like family, but I'm done standing up for these. And trust me, the first that word was with an N. All this bleep does is cost me money. Now, his point was really more, he's sick of having to stand up for his teammates who don't fight their own fights, and he's got to stand up for them. But how he described his teammates was he went with the N-word. And hardly the only time this word has come up. And it's interesting some of the responses to it. We saw what happened in Miami in the locker room. Black players come in the defense of a white player who did it because, you know what, he's honorary, whatever that means. Now I saw an interesting piece in the Post today where LaTroy Hawkins, and for those Met fans, probably the best reliever they had last year, he's been in many a locker room. He's been on a whole bunch of teams in a very long career. He doesn't tolerate it in there, and he's seen it change. And while this subject is about sports, this isn't about sports. In the entertainment world, it's okay to use this in any rap song you hear. In the sports world, it's okay for people to call each other that. And beyond that, have you guys seen, fathers with sons here, that it's much different than when you guys were young? Who's allowed to say it and when you're allowed to say it?
In my house, nobody's allowed to say it. So I haven't seen that directly with my kids. But what I have seen, what I have seen is the powers that be that decide what we hear on the radio have decided it's okay. Because it used to be that the music we're listening to right now would have no audience unless you made a tape and sold it directly to somebody. So that's one of the issues. The other issue is if you go back to Grey's Anatomy, that TV show, there was an African-American doctor, I forget his name, and there was a doctor on the show, an actor who I believe may be homosexual. And there were some anti-gay slurs used. That guy lost his job. Yep. Okay, no question about it. He was gone. That's it. We haven't seen him again. So I think that we can have the resolve to decide that we're not going to accept certain language.
What do you say to somebody who says, though, it's just a word? The more power you give the word by making a bigger deal about it, the bigger a deal it becomes.
Well, it's much more than just a word. And generally, let's put it this way. Every ethnic group or religious group has ways that it laughs at itself, and language that if another group used it with respect to them, they would be highly offended. I think that me as an African-American man, I do not lose my ability to still have disdain for that word because someone else who was born 15 years ago may not know what the consequences of that word were or the origin and may not be familiar with the history. And just by the same token, if someone was a Holocaust survivor, I can't turn around and tell them that the swastika means something different. And maybe, and actually, if you look at what it meant, it didn't mean what Adolf Hitler used it for. However, it would be insensitive for me. Exactly. They now took control of that symbol, and that's what people think of when they see it for the first time.
Hey, Dominic, again, a place where Andrew and I haven't been in the barbershop, okay? Tell the truth. Guys throwing around the N-word to each other, right? You're looking around, faces like you guys, not me in there. Do you ever correct it, or do you go with it? Come on now.
I don't correct it. It's a losing battle, and it's one that tears at my heart when it's done. It's really a horrible word, Richard. And, you know, because where do you stop? In my home, you can't use it either. And I have kids that come up from the projects. You know I'm from the projects. Every year. And couple of rules. Turn that hat around. You're not wearing that hat to the back. Pull up them jeans on your backside. I don't need to see your dirty underwear. You're not going to be disrespectful to the women here. And you will never, ever, ever, in my presence, use the N-word or you're going back home. Because what I don't understand, it's hard for me to ride the trains, Richard, in New York City, because the kids, I don't know if you guys ever get on the train and take a look at the black kids and the white kids. Nowadays, the white kids are acting blacker than the white kids and the black kids. And all the black kids are using the N word, the B word, and if they hear one of the white kids say it, they're ready to fight. And then when the white kids are to themselves, they're using it. But they don't mean harm. I mean, from what I can see, they mean it as a term of endearment, just like the black kids. But then where do we draw the line? I mean, it's horrible.
And I want to keep this conversation going. Let's jump to a quick break. We'll be right back.